and it is called the Moon Valley just based on, and this is my favorite part about it. Hi, I'm Kim from the Tye-Dyed iguana plant team, and we're going to talk about one of my favorite plants today as plant of the week. It is the Moon Valley. It is a Pilea, and it is called the Moon Valley just based on, and this is my favorite part about it, just on the texture of the leaves. If you look at the leaves, you can see they're very, very rough. They're actually deep and they're cratered, which is where the term Moon Valley comes from. That's its generic term. Really, really pretty. As this plant grows, and this is a smaller one, this is in a 2-inch pot. Frequently we get them in 4-inch pots, which are really, really nice. This one is, these are a little bit smaller, so it's a little hard to see. But as they grow, these craters, these deep veins in here will start to get a dark green, sometimes almost purplish or copper color, and it will just really make that plant pop out. It's just really, really pretty from a texture point of view. It's known for its leaves, not for its flowers, although this is a nice healthy one though, by the way. It's got nice roots coming out of the bottom. It will occasionally put out a flower, which is up to you if you want to go ahead and keep those. This one happens to have a tiny little flower on the side. The flowers will obviously get a little bigger as the plant gets bigger, but it's not a spectacular item. Generally speaking, what I would suggest, unless you really like the flower, is just to go ahead and clip it off, because it does suck some energy that would really go to the plant, and it is known for its leaves. But if you like the flower, just go ahead and let it be. From a watering perspective, needs a little bit more water depending upon where you're going to put it, and we're going to talk about light in just a second. Once a week, good to water. Keep it nice and moist. Sometimes twice a week. As you get into the summer months, it might need that second watering. You will know if it's lacking water because it wilts, and you'll look at it and you'll say, oh my God, I just killed my plant. This pops back pretty quickly. If it's wilted, give it some watering. If you come back in about 3 or 4 hours, it'll be right back. It just has a great vascular system and sucks up that water. Once a week for sure, twice a week, depending upon where you're going to have it as we get into the summer months. From a soil perspective, likes a well-drained soil, an African violet soil, which is a little bit hard to find, but that works really well. But otherwise, if you're going to be putting the soil together, I would suggest that you go 50% with your regular potting soil, and then the other 50% a mixture of perlite, a little bit of sphagnum moss, and maybe a small handful of bark in there just to help with the well-drainedness to make sure that this does not get over-watered. But that's an important point. Finally, from a lighting perspective, bright, indirect light. If it gets direct light, you're going to start to see those leaves wilt. They'll get a little bit crispy. That just is not a good thing for it. So that's a thing to remember, is just to try and keep it in that indirect light. It's a moundy kind of plant. So depending upon where your light is, if periodically, maybe each time you water it, you just rotate it a quarter turn, 90 degrees. Next time, rotate it another 90 degrees. You will keep that mounding going really, really nice. That's another characteristic of the plant. If you see it reaching out or leaning in one direction, that means it's leaning toward the light. Just go ahead and give it another turn, and just try and get yourself into a system, a routine where you will do that periodically. It works really well. It does like humidity. However, it's not one of those plants that really works well with misting. And I say that because it's got these deep craters, and sometimes the water just sitting in those deep craters have a tendency to just negatively impact the growth. So if you're looking at humidity, either a humidifier, or if you want to use the tray with some pebbles in it and water, that will just be natural humidity. Or if you have a bunch of plants that are grouped together, many times you'll have that group humidity. That works pretty well. Temperatures, 65 to 80 degrees. The bottom line for this, and this is generally an indoor house plant, but the bottom line here is that if you're comfortable, your plant is going to be comfortable. And from a toxicity perspective, it is non-toxic, so it's okay to put in habitats, vivariums. As a matter of fact, we have one in a vivarium here. I'll show it to you in just a second. But it really is a great little plant. You just need to make sure you pay attention to the watering, that you pay attention to the light, and you keep that humidity where it needs to be. Many times plants that have curls or turns, or in this case the craters, are susceptible to pests. Just be careful with this one. Watch out for mealybugs. Watch out in the joints here for little webby things. Those are your spider mites. Just need to be careful with that. If any of that happens, you can either use a neem oil or you can get denatured alcohol on a Q-tip and just go ahead and touch that off, and that will work just well to make sure that you keep your plant healthy. From a propagation point of view, these propagate a little better in soil than they do in water. You can clip a leaf or two down low and then just go ahead and, I would put it in the soil, moist soil rather than water. You can try the water and see if those little rooties start to grow. You then can go ahead and transplant it into that soil. But generally speaking, it'll propagate a little bit better in the soil than it does in the water. And when you do propagate, it's a slow grower, so stay patient with it. A really pretty plant. Let's take a walk over to one of our vivariums and I'll show you where we have one of the smaller ones. Again, sometimes we get to 4-inchers. This is a 2-incher, but I'll show you how a 2-incher just really fits nicely into a medium-sized vivarium. Let's take a look. So this is a medium-sized terrarium. It's a 12 by 12 by 18, and you can see we have several plants here, but tucked in the back, we have our Moon Valley. And it works there for a couple reasons. First of all, its size. When you have a little corner or one of those nooks and crannies and you want to put a plant in there, the 2-incher would work here a lot better than the 4-incher. So it fits in there perfectly. You can see this one is getting a little bit more mature, so you can see a little bit of darkness inside those veins. As it gets mature, you'll start to see that dark color. So while the colors themselves will just pop up even when it's just green, as it grows, and that deep color, that almost a purple color in the veins, will make it even a little bit more popping out to you. It also works in here well because you've got different colors. You've got a darker green, you've got a silver going on, and then you've got the lighter green with the purplish kind of veins in there that makes it work well. And again, it's non-toxic, so it'll work well in a habitat also. It's just really a pretty plant. We generally have them in stock. We don't have any of the large ones right now, but hopefully we will get some of those soon. Right now, just at 2-inchers at a really good price point. It is our plant of the week, Moon Valley Pilea.